It's time for the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is the voice of the working class, Rick Smith.
So, just as I was looking forward to opening arguments today, Fox News didn't go ahead and settle the defamation case. I was looking forward to some fun, some entertainment, more juicy tidbits coming from behind the curtain. But here's the thing that gets me, and this is where you're looking at the amount of money: $787 billion. $787 billion. That's half of the $1.6 billion they were asking for. And the question is it because the judge thought that they were less than truthful, otherwise known as lying? Or was it that a former producer had even more information? I don't know, but here to share some thoughts on maybe where this is, where it's going, and all of that, I've asked John Neffel to come talk with us. John's a senior rapid response writer over at Media Matters for America. MediaMatters.org is their website. John, thanks for taking time for us.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me, Rick.
So let's start with the shock part. I got to tell you, I'm shocked. I was surprised. I know Fox would want to settle. Still trying to figure out why Dominion settled.
Yeah, I was there in the courtroom today, and there was this extended afternoon break that just kept kind of dragging out. And then at about a little bit before 4 p.m., the judge came back and quietly said the case has been resolved. And it was almost the definition of ending with a whimper in some ways. I think that it makes a lot of sense, like you said, for Fox to settle. This trial was scheduled for 6 weeks. With every passing day that this story was in the headlines, not only were we learning more about the behind the scenes goings on of Fox in the period in question, in 2020 and the immediate aftermath of the election, but that every day this was in the headlines. It was a reminder to the larger public that Fox is not trustworthy and that their business model relies on telling their viewers lies.
But John, fair and balanced.
Right. You can get that tattooed on your forehead, and it doesn't make it so. And so from their perspective, I think that it made sense for Fox to kind of walk up to the very edge of the cliff here. The jury had been impaneled. There was a jury. There were alternates. There were human beings who thought that they were going to be sitting in this courtroom for the next 6 weeks of their life doing their civic duty. And Fox News got to the edge and they said, you know what? It's not worth it for us. It's not worth it for us to potentially put Rupert Murdoch on the stand, because we've already gotten Rupert's depositions in the pretrial motions, in the pretrial phase of this. And Murdoch himself admitted that he could have put a stop to all of this early on. And he even told the New York Post to do that exact thing in an editorial. His son, Lachlan, has a much, much closer degree of editorial control over Fox coverage than the company likes to put forward. What we got in some of these pretrial exhibits is that Lachlan was giving notes on the ticker at the bottom of the screen. So you cannot get more minute in terms of editorial direction than that. And I think that having anyone from the Murdoch family on the stand would have been a massive public service. and obviously a huge liability from Fox's point of view.
Yeah, no, out of that whole thing, Rupert Murdoch gave the most important line out of all of it, and it's what I've said all along. It's not about red or blue; it's about green. It's always about the money, and then you just have the guy in charge of all of the strings saying, "Yeah, we don't care about fair and balanced. We don't care about you. We care about us, and we care about money, and that's what's important." And that's why I thought Dominion should have just kept going with this. And I know it is about the money, $787 million. But still, this I guess there's that purist part of me. When you've got someone in that position, you finish them off. But thoughts?
Yeah, I mean that line when that you were just referencing, when Murdoch says it's not about red or blue, it's about green. That comes from the part of the deposition when he was justifying putting Mike Lindell, My Pillow's CEO, Mike Lindell, on the air for an interview on Tucker Carlson's show, the network's marquee show, and as people may remember, Tucker Carlson bleeds advertisers because he has a history of promoting white nationalist talking points and things that really much of the public finds abhorrent. And Mike Lindell remains one of Fox News's main advertisers. And so here's Rupert Murdoch saying that we're going to put Mike Lindell on the air. And the crucial background for all this is that Mike Lindell is the poster child for the election denial movement. If people aren't aware of that, in addition to his pillow operation, he has hosted these totally bunk cyber symposiums that present this just nonsense, quote unquote, evidence about election fraud. It's all complete nonsense. Tucker Carlson knew it. Everyone at Fox knew it. They all knew that that's what he was going to say when he went on Tucker's show. And that's exactly what he said. And right from Murdoch's own lips is it's because it's about the green. It's not about red or blue.
Yeah. Now the Lindell thing was hysterical. I got to tell you, I watched some of the Frank TV hours that he did, that 100-hour marathon of insane whatever that was. I watched a portion of that, and pure entertainment. If a train wreck is something that you're into.
Yeah, absolutely. And and with Lindell, there's this sort of ongoing feud that he has with Fox News where they will book him, they won't book him. But what was fascinating is that in one of the earlier hearings that I attended for summary judgment, which means that each party in the case was asking the judge to resolve it before it went to a jury, Fox News defended putting Mike Lindell on air because they said he was so incoherent he couldn't have defamed Dominion. Fox News' own counsel said that a reasonable viewer listening to Mike Lindell wouldn't know what he was talking about, and therefore he couldn't have made a false statement of fact with actual malice because he was so far out of left field. And so this is Fox News's way of defending their editorial decisions, is that it's too incoherent to even be taken as a factual statement. So that gives you the sort of sense of the good and bad faith we're dealing with here.
So their argument basically is Fox TV is really like the old school Mad Magazine. You can't believe it's all satire. Nobody actually takes that stuff seriously. But then again, that wasn't their defense of Tucker Carlson early on, that he's not news, he's entertainment, so he doesn't have to be honest.
Exactly. They sort of trot out this line repeatedly about the primetime people are the viewers understand that it's opinion and editorial, and so that they're not presenting news. Sometimes, there's this sense that even Fox acknowledges that Tucker is not reliable. And what Fox has done for years now is pretend that there's some kind of hard and fast line between the straight news kind of dayside reporting and the opinion shows in the evening, especially. And what a lot of the pretrial evidence and exhibits showed is that the so-called straight news side was completely complicit in this. Many of them knew that these election conspiracy theories had no basis, that they were false, but they still showed up on dayside programming regardless. And so I think that Fox News is often kind of too cute by half when they try to make these legalistic parsings from one thing to the other. But everyone who watches the network, I think, takes the network in as an entire package. And that was one of the elements of Dominion's argument, is that for the viewer, you're not parsing, oh, this person is a guest, they're being asked a question by an interviewer. You sort of take in the whole thing as a singular product. And I think that that's the best and the only way to understand Fox News is holistically as this deceit machine.
No, and that what the reality is it's the news, because they're creating the news. And I always thought their argument that Tucker was entertainment was interesting, because now, again, I'm not a lawyer, but the common sense in me goes, well, the First Amendment protects the press in a lot of ways. By parsing them out and saying no, they're not news, you open yourself up to these kind of things. And I'm shocked that it hasn't happened already before now. Because they've done a lot of this stuff over the years. So the question I come back to is, now that they've settled this, there's another lawsuit coming. There's another lawsuit, I guess, this Smartmatic voting machines. Are we expecting a settlement there? And then won't that just open it up for other people to go and attack them?
Right. Well, there was a sort of funny moment outside the courthouse today. Some of the journalists were sharing in the gallows humor that the press often indulges in, and I overheard a couple people say, I'll see you next time it's Smartmatic. It'll be the exact same fact pattern. So people were joking about how you're not going to have to read the legal briefs for Smartmatic because it's the exact same thing. Who knows what that case will bring. Smartmatic has said that I think their statement in response to this was, Dominion exposed many of Fox's lies, will expose the rest. I mean, I would be surprised if that case ended up significantly different than this. I think that this is probably pretty close to a template for how Fox and Smartmatic is going to go. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll go to trial, but I wouldn't put money on it.
Wow.
And as far as opening the door to the future, I think what it opens the door to is it opens the door to Fox to backslide into presenting almost the exact same set of conspiracy theories that were in question here, but just leaving out the word Dominion, leaving out the word Smartmatic. And already this year, Media Matters did a study. By early March, Fox News had put forward 50 lies about the elections, about the midterms, about January 6th cases where they Fox personalities will say that the FBI is manipulating elections. And so what we're seeing already is Fox News reverting to this exact same kind of conspiracy theory, election denialism that was the heart of the matter here. And I think that this has given them a license to continue to do that, but just to make sure that they don't have a specific party who's going to have standing to bring a specific lawsuit like this. But I think that that's the most likely outcome from this, unfortunately.
Yeah, don't defame just one, defame them all.
Right, exactly. There is a sort of like, if it's so broad that no one has particularized standing, maybe you can get away with it.
It's crazy. You're listening to the Rick Smith Show with John Neffel. John's a senior rapid response writer over at Media Matters, MediaMatters.org, their website, if you want to take a look at this. Now, the thing that bothers me is, like a lot of these settlements, is Fox admitting any wrong in this? Will there be anything on the F channel saying, hey, we were wrong, we lied to you viewers, sorry? Any of that happening?
As of right now, no. And their initial statement was a very, very squirrely, weaselly way of addressing the facts that have already been ruled on by the judge. The judge already in the case as part of the summary, the earlier hearings that I was referencing, the judge already found that nothing that Fox News said about Dominion in this period in question after the 2020 election, nothing was true. Full stop. This was already found by the judge. This is the judge's ruling. And Fox News, in their statement, acknowledged that the judge found certain parts were
mistakes were made.
Exactly. We're completely in the mistakes were made territory. And Fox News's statement didn't. There was no admission of guilt. There was no admission of accountability. There's no reckoning whatsoever. I think that Howard Kurtz may have acknowledged it on Fox News this afternoon as part of a media report or something. But there's as of right now, we've heard that there is no plan for on-air talent to read apologies. It's virtually impossible to imagine the primetime lineup giving an apology unless it was ordered by Murdoch.
Yeah. No, see, this
himself.
would get me. Always gets me. The left, anyone on the left, if something like this were to happen or anything happens, there's always a teary-eyed apology. They go on this, I'm so sorry tour, and they take arrows from every direction. Republican, the Fox News and those folks, they're just going to move right along like nothing happened.
Yeah, well, and the key background to all of this, the sort of behind the scenes media business angle to all of this, is that Fox is currently negotiating what are called carriage fees or affiliate fees that they negotiate with cable providers, and second to ESPN, Fox News charges the most fees from cable providers. So what that means is that even if Fox News didn't sell any ads, they would still be a profitable media company because they have convinced cable providers that their audience is robust enough to warrant these exorbitant fees that totaled nearly $2 billion with a B.
Wow.
in 2022 alone. So that means that every single person in the United States who has cable, who pays for it, is paying Fox to pay out this settlement. So even if you never watch Fox, even if you never buy MyPillow, even if you don't have anything to do with Fox or any of their advertisers, if you pay for cable and Fox News is included, you are paying Fox News through these carriage fees. Yeah. And right now, Fox is renegotiating an increase in these fees. So I think that from Fox's point of view, what they have learned is that their business model is to continue to tell their viewers lies, to keep them loyal, to make sure that they don't go to Newsmax or OAN or these other kind of nascent competitors, and that the more they're loyal and devoted to Fox News, the more that Fox News can leverage that audience to these cable providers, so that even if they face boycotts from advertisers, they still have this huge revenue stream coming in separately. So until that is addressed, Fox News, I think, sees this as the cost of doing business, the same as a massive financial institution after 2008 sees an SEC violation as a cost of doing business. Oh, you're going to give me $1 billion fine? Well, I'm a transnational bank. Okay, I'll just profit off this. I'll just keep the remaining profit. And I think that Fox News is basically treating this the same way. It's a cost of doing business for telling their viewers what they want to hear, and that's what is going to keep them profitable until that changes. Yeah,
that's the number is eye popping. But I don't know that it's enough. It's one of those things I just don't know that's enough. So last question I've got for you. Last question. You know who I really feel sorry for in all this? The jurors. The jurors have got to be fairly bummed out. This was kind of this could have been like a golden ticket. There were going to be 12 or 13 books written out of this because of all of the craziness that was going to be on display. This was going to be, for me, watching this would have been a comedy display of watching Fox trying to justify all of the garbage that they've spewed and then try and dance around the fact, it's just entertainment or it's just about the money.
Right. I mean, when you think about the jurors and the alternates, that they would have had a front row seat to one of the most interesting First Amendment media stories in half a century. On the other hand, as anyone who's ever done jury duty knows, having to take off work and find childcare and all the rest of it is a serious hardship. So there's probably some people who are thrilled to not have to be
let me think about that. I'm
dealing with this.
I'm going to take time off to sit on a jury of a case nobody knows about, or a case that I'm going to be able to write a book and probably make $1 million. I don't know. I think I'm going with the book.
Yeah. We'll do a joint authorship if you and I get impaneled together.
There you go. So the Smartmatic thing, real quick. When does that start? What are we expecting that to begin, and all of that, so we can mark it on the calendar?
I don't have a date for that. I don't know that a date has been set, but it's very much in the works, and I have to imagine that this is gonna accelerate at the very least the media interest in it. But I'm not sure that there's a calendar date set yet.
Well, when that happens, we want to have you come back and share some more thoughts on where this is going and all that. But John, I appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
Great stuff, John Nuffel. Make sure you check out John's work over at MediaMatters.org, where he's the senior rapid response writer for the folks over at Media Matters. Going to take a quick break. Right back. Stick around. You're listening to The Rick Smith Show. We're working people. Come to talk.
From the steel mills of Pennsylvania to the auto factories of Michigan to the modern makers movement, manufacturing makes our nation great. I'm Scott Paul, president of the Alliance for American Manufacturing. We bring business and labor together to advocate for policies that everyone can agree on. Together, we can strengthen manufacturing and create good-paying American jobs. Help us keep it made in America.
For more than 40 years, under Democratic and Republican presidents, the old factory towns in America's heartland have been taking a beating. Factories closed, trade deals that usually helped big corporations instead of working people. Folks losing their union protections and pensions as wages fell and healthcare costs rose. Roads, bridges, water systems, and schools crumbling. And of course, the opioid epidemic, which has just been devastating. Now folks are getting hit with rising prices, while huge wealthy corporations jack up costs and brag to their stockholders about record-breaking profits. Thing is, though, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Unions are making a comeback, with more organizing in the last couple of years than in a long time. And the Biden administration being more supportive of unions than any president since FDR. The American Recovery Package has allowed cities and counties to hire new police officers and firefighters and start rebuilding their communities again. After years of politicians talking about it, they finally passed a big new infrastructure package to rebuild roads and bridges, fix drinking water systems, and make the energy grid more secure. The new CHIPS bill that got passed will bring jobs back home and has already resulted in big announcements of major new factories opening. The Inflation Reduction Act, in addition to finally allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices with Big Pharma, will lower energy prices and create millions of new jobs by dramatically increasing the manufacturing of solar panels, wind turbines, electric cars, and energy-efficient home appliances. Now our country is at a crossroads. We're finally turning things around after 40 years of screwing over working people. But will we keep moving in the right direction? That's our choice as Americans.
So more fun and entertainment coming out of Clarence Thomas. Wow. I think I've got the wrong friends. I think we've all got the wrong friends, or just maybe the wrong job. Maybe that's more like it, because we're supposed to believe that all of these rich people did all of this wonderful benevolent stuff for Clarence and Jenny Thomas. Took them on $500,000 vacations, bought up mom's house and renovated it. A whole bunch of other real estate dealings on the other side. Gifts and presents and trips and oh my. Just because he's got a great sense of humor. He's got a great sense of humor, evidently. Anybody buying that? And what I find interesting is the silence of the right. And the only people who are peeking around the corners are the Lauren Boeberts and the fringe. Who, Clarence Thomas is an American hero. Yeah, because, well, he's stuck it to the little guy. I don't know what the... this would all be criminal stuff. Now, what's interesting is, when you do your disclosures, you're supposed to mark, how much money your assets, how much this, how much that. There's supposed to be some, a little bit of transparency. Evidently, he marked the box that Ginny didn't get any money whatsoever. Nothing. Zero. And yet, oddly enough, we all know she's been doing work for Tea Party groups for years. I mean, this is, she's not little Miss Homemaker. She's not baking cookies waiting for Charlie to come home so she can pinch his little cheeks or whatever it is they do. And I see, I'm still tainted from watching the confirmation hearings back in the old days. Anyone who remember the Coke can with the little curlies all over it? I seem to remember that. But this is one of those moments where you go, if it's you or me, if it's any average person, any working person, and you were to stand before him in court and go, oh, I didn't know any better. He's on the freaking Supreme Court. This is one of those moments. When I was a kid, my mother would always say, because it was the line, ignorance is no excuse. Being stupid is no excuse. Ignorance of the law is no excuse for breaking it. Should that not, and I'm just throwing this out here now, should that not apply double to the guy who interprets the laws? Or can he just go, I interpret that differently now that it's me? It's quite remarkable. And here's the thing. While I was in D.C. yesterday, I talked to a number of people who said, look, this Clarence Thomas thing, it's going to get a lot uglier and a lot worse because there's a lot. Evidently, the criming was no secret. This has been going on for decades. We're just hearing drips and drabs because finally reporters have gone, hey, there might be a story here. And understand when the shark is circling, or the sharks are circling, they are most certainly going to find their prey. Now the question is, are we so badly divided that we can't see what really is going on? That this guy just broke the rules, was bought and paid for from the start? Or will the right dig in even more? Because I'm looking at it going, how do I get friends like that? Want to hear your thoughts, though. Email me, rick@thericksmithshow.com. If you missed any portion of the program, make sure you grab the podcast wherever you find your favorite podcast. You will find ours. I got to know, what's the thought on the Clarence? Thanks for being here. We'll see you back here next time.
You've been listening to The Rick Smith Show. Email Rick at rick@thericksmithshow.com. Until next time, this has been The Rick Smith Show, where working people come to talk.